fresh new trim.
Fresh new trim, mate. New
Proper short, mate.
I know, I'm a dad now, so
So
I've got to just be a bit more serious, you know.
is that what it is? You had a child and thought, I've got to go and get
Do
my
you know
haircut.
what? The maintenance is so expensive, so long. I'm just ready. I'm ready to come home, mate. I'm ready to come home.
Just going to keep it simple. Short back and ties now from here on in, right?
I'm done.
Kweku, let's get straight into them. We've got lots of live racing to bring you throughout the course of the day. So let's get straight to the game last night. I mean, we'll talk about Chelsea in a second. Your team, big win for you guys in the race for top four, but it's all about Ange, isn't it? It's all about the substitutions. So Chelsea were 1-0 up. He brings off, for those who missed it, he brought off Bergvall, brought on Sarr. There were chance of, you don't know what you're doing from the Spurs fans. Moments later, Sarr then scores. Ange goes, he looks to the Spurs fans and cups his ear. The goal obviously gets disallowed because of VAR, and then after the game he almost basically says, well, I wasn't trying to go them or mock them, I was trying to celebrate with them, G them up. I'm not so sure about that, but let's hear from the main man. Here's what Ange Postecoglou had to say.
Look, I made a mistake last night in that I celebrated a goal. I purposely, I think since VAR came in, I think I was up in Scotland, I think the first game VAR came in, there was 4 or 5 incidents. We were standing around and I made conscious decision, I'm not going to really, I'll celebrate, but I'm not going to really celebrate goals anymore because there's no point. You've got to wait for everything to get checked off. Last night, I just felt we needed something and getting that goal, which I thought was a cracking goal by Pape. I'd obviously heard the supporters weren't happy, with my decision, which is fine. And my response was to celebrate and get them to make some noise now to get behind the team. I thought it was a real momentum shifter, that moment, because I just felt we did finish stronger.
Thoughts, Kweku? Is he just lying, do you think?
Yeah. He's in a tough position right now, Ange. I feel like people know that he's a dead man walking when it comes to Spurs. Of course, that changes if they win the Europa League, but I don't think many people fancy them to do that. I've gone on there on multiple occasions and slated Ange. I had some sympathy for him last night because it did take too long. And if it's going to take a referee that long when they assesses it, then it's not clear and obvious. Obviously, to us, it's clear and obvious, but to the officials, it weren't. So I feel like football's in a state right now with VAR where they're trying to find reasons to take away goals. And I know that the Caicedo goal, there was an offside in the build-up, but that was a great moment that was taken away because of VAR. The Sarr goal, a great moment. Goal taken away because of VAR. When you're trying to find reasons to take away goals in football, you're inherently going to have a worse product. And I get what Ange's saying. I'm totally on board with him. VAR is ruining football. In terms of his actions last night, this is a man who, it's all building up, right, to a crescendo, and he's struggling. But again, I'm going to defend him here. When he came into Spurs, they were on their knees after Antonio Conte. He finished 5th last season, a very good year. This year been decimated with injuries. The football's not been good enough. I feel like if Spurs don't win the Europa League, he needs to lose his job. But I can understand why there is so much frustration because he feels like nothing's going his way. And when he's interviewed post-match and he feels like he's been antagonised, I can understand why he's biting back. I want to be fair here. And final point, I understand that this has not been good enough this season, but for the last 15 years, every other Spurs manager has had at least one world-class forward in the form of either Gareth Bale or Harry Kane. Ange has not been afforded that luxury, and we're seeing it play out right now.
Yeah, just on the to go back to your original point on the decision, I take your point about goals being taken away for the smallest of things, but I thought the one last night, that was a clear and obvious foul. I mean, that was just a free kick. I couldn't believe the referee didn't get it right first time around.
I saw the tweet.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
It was crazy. And then what makes it even worse, and this is where it's also frustrating, Kweku, we blame VAR this, VAR that. It's not VAR, it's the officials that are in charge of VAR. Yeah. Firstly, referee makes a massive mistake getting it wrong on field. Premier League referee shouldn't be getting those things wrong, simply not good enough. And then I don't understand how the referee goes over to his monitor and he has to look at it so many times. It was so obvious to everybody, or should have been anyway, that one look at that incident is he kicked the back of his leg. And I'm sitting there thinking, what are you looking at, mate? What are you looking at? And that's where it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm like, this can't take... He had about 15 looks at it.
It was ridiculous. We saw it on the TVs sitting at home. It was clear and obvious to us at home. I think Craig Pawson had a bit of a stinker last night. The thing that your biggest bugbear in football, when the corners, and he's just there lecturing the players. It's like they're not babies. If they're going to hold each other in the box, give a penalty, give a free kick. It's not your job as a referee to tell them to not do it.
Oh, Kweku, it is. He's not the only ref that does that, by the way. All of them do it. It is one of the most frustrating things in the world.
It was killing me last night.
It'd be like the boss or talkSPORT just walking in here mid-show and being like, by the way, lads, just to let you know, you've got to hit your brakes on time at 3:27. Make sure you don't swear. Doing it live on air, it'd be the weirdest thing to do. Why are you explaining the rules to Premier League footballers during a game? It's pathetic.
I don't understand.
Get on with it. And if they're yanking a shirt, give a foul or a penalty.
Exactly, and that will stop them doing it. It's so
nonsense.
frustrating, and that's why we end up having 12 minutes added on. There's so many stoppages, so I do have sympathy for Ange in that instance. But this is a man who's spiraling. I was supposed to go to the game last night, but couldn't. I was watching it at home with the missus, and when the Ange interview came on, I said, "I'm so sorry. I just need to lock in for this," because before he even started speaking, I knew that it was going to be box office, and Sky replayed it 3 or 4 times.
He is box office though. The way he speaks, his interviews are genuine box office.
Anytime he speaks, it's a rarity in the Premier League. Anytime he speaks, I want to listen.
Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you agree with him or not on what he's saying, at least you know he's not going to run out the cliches, isn't he?
No, he's going to be
focus on
honest.
Southampton on Sunday. He's open and honest. You said dead man walking.
Yeah.
You mean that? You don't. I mean, you think the sack is just we're just wait. You feel like almost we're waiting for him to put out of his misery.
100%. Unless they win the Europa League, and
can they?
They can. They're still in the competition. Will they? No. But like. And you know, I'm a Chelsea fan. I don't wish anything positive on Spurs.
No.
I mentioned this last week. There is a twisted part of me deep in the depths of my soul that after this whole season, him getting memed, him getting mocked on every show, left, right, centre.
Jeremy. Go on, talk. Go on, go for it.
I wanna see a manager who gives so much chat back it up, and if he does back it up, I will have to respect it. And if he does win the Europa League, then he deserves to keep his job.
If he does win the Europa League, he should finish the last interview by going, "And I told you."
Yeah.
I always win things my second season.
How amazing would that be?
Mic drop, walk out.
How amazing would that be?
Yeah, it would be incredible.
I feel like for a manager that's come out with such a bold statement and he's been so criticised for it, if he does end up doing it, he deserves all the credit in the world. He deserves to keep his job. Football's a result to end the business. The landscape and the face of the season is very different if Spurs win the Europa League and qualify for the Champions League. In that instance, he's done his job. He's hit the remit, qualified for the Champions League, keep your job. Apart from that, I think Spurs can't be sitting in 14th in the table after 30 games. I think that's a sackable offence.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, you watched the game last night. I mean, I thought Chelsea won. I didn't think you were at your best, but it felt like you were pretty comfortable, weren't you? I mean, they just go through that Tottenham team, and Son just looks...
He's done.
He almost looks like he needs to be put out of his misery a little bit. He looks done. I mean, James Maddison, I mean, I've been one of his biggest supporters, one of his biggest fans. I think there's a really good player in there. He's just been bang average since he's arrived at Tottenham, hasn't he?
Yes.
Johnson or Odegaard on the right, they're just not good enough to be top-level players. No. Solanke up front didn't have any service, and, you know, the midfield just maybe felt like they lacked a little bit of creativity in there. It just pretty much 1-11. Yeah, Matthias Tell as well. I mean, he only came on for a couple of minutes, didn't he, at the end of the game? And, you know, it just looks like it's an average team. And I think when Spurs were good, they sort of had that high energy, high pressing, real energetic style of football where you kind of looked at it and thought, hang on a minute. Just felt like during the injuries they weren't able to do that. And now even they've got players back, you're looking at the Spurs team, and it's like they've almost gone away. You're not really seeing the good signs, are you, of the Ange Postecoglou? And you're like, what they supposed... It's all just a bit confusing as to what they're trying to do, what they're supposed to be, what they're trying to build. And I do fear for him. I'm with you, mate, and I can say it because I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I would love Spurs to win the Europa League because I think he's good. I do like his football. I think he's a real character. And I think we want characters in the game.
Oh, like, narrative-wise, for us who work in the media, if he wins a trophy in his second season after saying it, like, what more do you want in terms of a narrative, in terms of a man?
And we
back
love a
in the
narrative,
chat?
don't we, here?
Oh, I love a narrative. And, again, I don't think Spurs are good enough to beat Frankfurt. I think they go out in a couple of weeks. But if he does do it, he deserves to keep his job. There are some Spurs fans that are saying even if he does win it, he should still walk. He should still be sacked. And I don't think that would be very fair. I think in your first season, if you finish 5th, in the second season, if you win a trophy, well, I think you deserve to keep your job. But then there is that Ten Hag thing looming over where Ten Hag's first season finished 3rd, second season finished 8th, won the FA Cup, and then...
Someone like does a good cup run, kind of then override a 38-game Premier League season where you consistently for 9 months been poor. What about Chelsea, Kweku? It's hard to work out where the Chelsea team are at the moment.
Yeah, we're a bit inconsistent. This is a poor Spurs side. Chelsea always beat Spurs at Stamford Bridge. It could have been more, it should have been more, but towards the end of the game we were hanging on. And again, weirdly, it was one of my more enjoyable games this season. Firstly, because it's beating Spurs, but secondly, because we don't have many 1-0 wins where it's old school Chelsea. It's like S-Housery to end up getting the result. Like last 30 minutes, we weren't hanging on, but we had to manage the game. And with this group of immature players that haven't really shown the ability to manage games because there's no grown-ups in the room, to see us see out a game that we were leading by 1 goal gave me some solace. It was like we've won it in a different fashion. We changed to a 5-4-1 in the 90th minute. There was still 12 minutes added on, and we played football in a different way. And it showed me that Maresca is maybe learning on the job, understand that results are paramount. I understand performances. I understand that you're telling Enzo Fernandez if he passes backwards, he's going to have to be substituted. But ultimately, you're a Chelsea manager. You need to get results. And last night was an example of Enzo Maresca putting out a team and then setting up his team later on in the game to get the result as opposed to looking strictly at the performance.
In terms of the performance kind of in the first half, I mean, Cole Palmer it's good to see him back. I thought Jackson, he's always a handful, isn't he, Nicholas Jackson? I'm frustrated by Jadon Sancho. I'm confused by Jadon Sancho. I mean, he looks like a player bereft of confidence. Like almost every time he got the ball, he almost looked scared to try and beat his man. He kept going back a lot. He's been so underwhelming this season, hasn't he?
Do you know what? I've got a lot of stocks of Jadon Sancho and I've been backing him a lot. But last night, I saw that it might not be the
It's probably
solution.
the easiest game for Jed Spence all season.
He knew that he couldn't beat Jed Spence on the outside, and so he just didn't try.
Yeah.
And he got the ball, dribbled into traffic and then turned back out, wasn't shooting quick enough. It was a frustrating performance from him. And a lot of times I've given Chelsea wingers leeway because we haven't had fullbacks overlapping. Cucurella was doing that last night. Cucurella was making that run. Sancho wasn't using it. And unfortunately, it looks like Chelsea will pay the 25 million. I think they will end up doing that.
Do you think?
I think
Why?
so, yeah. Just bodies. And
Really? Is there a reason to spend £25 million on someone though?
Yeah, I know.
But it's not a great body though, is it? It's almost like,
Yeah, I know. But like, what are you going to get for
it feels real. Well,
what are you gonna get for 25 million?
I reckon with all the people scouting around the world,
Yeah.
I'd like to think
Get better
there's
than
got.
that.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can get better than that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody out there across the world that would be better value than £25 million for Jadon Sancho. But
It's not the same
just
player.
looks short of confidence, doesn't
Yeah,
it? Really,
yeah,
really.
He does. But again, football's there's so many sliding doors in football. Say Vicario doesn't make that incredible save and Jadon Sancho puts that top bins.
Yeah.
It's a different conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Sanchez.
What would the conversation have been, by the way, if Sarr hadn't fouled Caicedo and Sanchez had made another clanger?
Oh, he is luckiest man in southwest London.
What does he have to do to lose his place in that team, like permanently to lose his place in that
I don't know
11?
what he's got on Maresca, but and again, we dropped him for a period of the season.
But not for long though, was it?
Not for long enough. Jorgensen came in for like 2 or 3 games, but we just need to go out and buy a new keeper. And it sounds hilarious to me as a Chelsea fan saying this when we've got 7 or 8 keepers on our books, but we need a new keeper because say that Sarr goal counts, we're in big trouble. We have basically our next 4 games are winnable games.
Right.
Our last 4 games this season are so difficult. We've got to go to St James's Park. We've got to play against you at Stamford Bridge. We've got to go away against Forest. We've got tough games, and so
you want to pick up your points in your next 4 games.
We have to. We have to. We've got Brentford on the weekend. We've got Everton in that run as well. So if we don't win the 3 out of the next 4, we won't finish in the top 4 or 5.
Do you think you will though? Because it is so tight. I mean, it feels like a couple of teams are maybe drifting away. I mean, Bournemouth's form this season has been incredible. But within 10 seconds, who do you think is going to get those top 4 places?
I think Forest finished 3rd, City finished 4th, Chelsea finished 5th.
Yeah, that's the way, isn't it? I think so.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.